The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, welcome to RV Inspections, providing a new income stream. I want to thank you for joining us, and I would ask you to sit back, relax just a little bit, because we're going to run hard and play hard over the next few minutes to introduce you to this new concept of RV inspections and becoming an RV inspector. Well, I am Steve Anderson. I'm the president of Work Camper News, Inc., and I'm also the president of RV Inspection Connection, LLC, that you're going to be hearing more about here in this presentation. With me this evening, all the way from Pennsylvania, I have with me Terry Cooper, the president of the Mobile RV Academy, and he is also the president of the National Recreational Vehicle Inspectors Association. Good evening, Mr. Cooper. You with us out there?
We are indeed. We actually happen to be in Hershey, Pennsylvania, here for the RV show, folks. Wish you were here. Beautiful weather. Beautiful weather. Nice fall coming in.
That's awesome. Well, folks, here's what you're going to discover this evening. As we go through this presentation, we're going to help you discover how to turn your RV interest into a business. We're also going to help you understand why 22,000 is a very good number. We're going to see how the NRVIA, which is the National RV Inspectors Association, is setting the standards for this new industry that we're going to be discussing this evening. And we're also going to help you understand how many inspectors are truly needed across America. So please stay connected with us. Stay with us as we go through this information this evening. We promise we're going to provide you lots of information about the RV inspector opportunity, and we just ask that you stay with us and keep up with our lively pace. So who is this information for? That's the first question that I think some of you might be asking yourself out there. Well, it is for the RV enthusiast, and an RV enthusiast can be anyone who has interest in RVs. It makes no difference whether they are of the golden years or of young families. It makes no difference. Anyone also who is wanting to build a business, who is this information, that's who this information is for. And also, and I know this one's kind of a no-brainer, the person wanting to make more money. But truly, that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about this evening. So the RV enthusiast, as I mentioned, doesn't make any difference whether you're in your retirement years, whether you're in your baby boomers getting ready to retire years. It makes no difference. Or if you happen to be the family with children and you do not have to be living in an RV, you don't have to be traveling in an RV, you don't have to own an RV to be an RV inspector. It's just that we do feel that if you have an interest and an enthusiasm for RVs, it will be of benefit to you in the development of your business. Now, you also need to have a desire to have a small business. Anyone who has the drive to get the training that's going to be necessary and to take the steps to build their RV inspection business is who this information is for this evening. And I know, I already said this opportunity is for anyone who desires to earn more income. This industry, folks, is poised, literally poised to blast off, and those who are getting started now are going to be on the ground floor of what we believe is going to become an industry that's as large as the home inspection industry today. You know, many people years ago did not know what a home inspector was or what the home inspection industry was because it was brand new. It got started very quietly, and we believe we're going to be started with more of an explosive approach than they did because we are doing a lot of the things from the right way, which we will share with you here a little bit when it comes to the NRVIA. So folks, here's what I want you to do. What if I could wave a magic wand over you and to say something like this, that you could travel wherever you wanted to travel? And I wave that magic wand over you again and I say, and be able to live wherever you would want to live. And then I wave it again and say, travel whenever you want to travel, any season, whichever one you choose, or all of them if that be your choice. Or wave that wand one more time and say, how about if I could help you develop a business that would pay for the RV you wanted to travel in, for the home you wanted to live in, etc. Okay, that's if I had a magic wand and I could wave it over you. Well, you know that's not likely. So what are your options? You know, you've got some options. Of course, you can save and save and save and save some more and save some more, and the years go by, etc., and possibly get to the point where you could live where you wanted to live, travel when you wanted to, all of those types of things. And yes, there are people doing that, but that may not be one of the options that you would like to choose. Or here's an option we would encourage you not to take, but I thought it might be kind of fun just to throw it in here, you know, you could have a short-term gratification maybe by robbing the bank or whatever the case might be. And don't encourage you to go do this, folks, but just saying that this is another option, and it's not really one that you would want to take. Neither one of these options are probably that feasible for you at this point in your life. So starting your own business truly does have merit, and it provides the flexibility. And what we're going to talk about with you this evening is this idea of developing an RV inspection business. It provides you the flexibility to travel, to live where you want to live, if that be your choice. And you're going to actually be able to earn income, and there's lots of other benefits that we're not going to have time to get into this evening. Tax advantages, for instance, for small businesses and so on. And I could just get really, really rolling, but I'm not going to go down that path at this point. But just to help you understand, this development of a small business truly does have merit to be able to create the type of lifestyle that you would like to have. So let's step back in time just a little bit, and what I'd like to do is to help you understand how this new industry got its start. And one of the very best people to do that for you is Mr. Terry Cooper, the Texas RV professor.
Well, like all things, they have kind of an unusual start. You know, it's one of those things, just happen to be at the right place at the right time and think, how did I miss this? But what had happened was I was teaching at a college. I was training RV technicians, and let me just tell you, there were students in my class that wanted to be there, and then I had students that were there that only because mom and daddy were picking up the tab for it. And so what I was doing is I was training these people, or trying to train them to get them ready to where they could go into the marketplace. Some of them would go through and they'd do real well. They'd go to work for dealerships or start a mobile service or whatever. And while all this was going on, while I was teaching, I began to get phone calls from banks, attorneys, insurance companies, and other RV dealerships saying, Cooper, I have a problem here. I need someone to take a look at some of these RVs. And so what began to happen was I started doing RV inspections for these different entities. I mean, one time I got a call from a banker, and he said, look, he said, I've got this lady sitting in my office, and she's wanting to buy this RV. He said, I don't understand this business of RVing. How is it if I'm going to loan money on a home, I can expect a home inspection? Or if I'm going to loan money on a boat that's over $50,000, I can require what they call a boat survey. But he said, I can't find anything dealing with RV inspection. So what's the deal here? And I'm sitting here thinking, how did we miss this? I've just been looking at things for attorneys because maybe there was a bankruptcy going on or something happening, or maybe that someone had lost their parents and they were in the process of trying to settle up the will and get the probate all taken care of on the property. And I was just looking at these units from that standpoint of going out, doing evaluation of it, see what kind of condition it was. And here I had a whole new market that I did not even know existed. So moving into the next slide, moving into the next opportunity that we had here, I began to look at this and think, what can I do? And about this time, I began to really kind of grow, shall I say, disenchanted with the job I was doing. I mean, I felt like I was teaching the same thing over every semester, and I just couldn't envision myself doing this another 8 years, because I'd already been there 8 years, and I'm thinking, is it going to be this way for the rest of my life? So I told my wife, and her name is Evada, but I call her Lady E. I told her, Lady E, I said, we need to do something different. I said, it looks like to me there's an opportunity to be able to go out on the road and let's do training. Let's train technicians. Rather than have them come to Waco and where I can teach them in the classroom, I can go to the dealership and do training. And I can also do these inspections for the attorneys, the banks, the insurance companies. Whoever calls, we can go and do this. So we launched Mobile RV Academy. And basically, we just travel And now that's how we funded our travel, because this way we can go where we want to go, live the lifestyle we want to live. And let me just tell you, in this last year, we put over 32,000 miles on this one-ton truck that we had. They're pulling a very nice new fifth-wheel trailer. So that's a lot of miles. We have been from one coast to the other doing training and all. But all of this got started through connections and through relationships. When, Mr. Anderson, if you don't mind, if you'll flip forward for me, we developed a relationship with Work Camper News, and it all started with a tweet. I know, sounds kind of crazy, but my wife got to tweeting with this lady, and this lady said, you need to talk to Work Camper News. They're looking for someone to do some technical training for their work campers, the folks that come on board with them and learning about getting jobs and traveling on the road and having this full-time experience. So I reached out to Work Camper News, and lo and behold, I met Steve Anderson. He said, well, come up, let's talk about it. So Lady E and I went up to Little Rock, or actually to Heber Springs. We flew into Little Rock, Arkansas in the middle of a storm, rented a car, drove up to Heber Springs, and met the folks at Work Camper News. And I realized at that point I had begun to reach my destiny. I knew that I could take the small business that we had called Mobile RV Academy, and we could take it to the next level by offering opportunities to a larger group of people to do technical training, but also to do just individual type training so people could take care of their own rigs without having to be at the mercy of the time schedule of a campground or the time schedule of a dealership. You know, right now we're, what, 6 weeks out? I'm hearing people saying that they call a dealership and they say, well, we can get to you in 6 weeks. We're so busy. Well, what if you could do your own work? And so we launched into this thing, and then I kept bringing it up, said, you know, I keep thinking about this banker because I'm getting more phone calls and I'm having to do inspections, and what do we do? So Steve Anderson and I began to work on this thing, and we put together a program. Now, in this program, if you'll advance, Mr. Anderson, for me, in this program, what we began to look at was there really a market here? Because, you know, before you jump in, you better know what you're jumping into. You better know how deep the water is. Well, what we know is there's 12 million RVs running up down the highway right now. Now, some of them are owned, some of them are rentals. But, folks, that's a lot of rubber hitting the pavement. A lot of people are traveling around, 12 million of them. Mr. Anderson, if you'll advance for me. Now, the statistic that really popped me between the eyes is that when we began to look at the market, do you realize that there are 22,000 baby boomers retiring each and every day? 22,000 baby boomers. And you know what? These baby boomers have money to spend. You may be one of those, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have worked your whole life, you have saved, you've put money back, maybe you bought a home, and you've now got it to where, with the inflation and all the different things that have taken place, your home may be worth quite a bit. And you're saying, you know what? I'm tired of having the McMansion. I want to do something different. We want to go and travel. You know, remember when we would take our 2-week vacation and we would really enjoy ourselves, and then when we come back we'd say, someday we're going to do this for real. Someday we're going to go and travel. Someday we're going to be able to go where we want to go and be able to stay out as long as we want. And so with that being said, there is a market here. Now, I will tell you, in this 12 million RVs we've got running up down the highway, there's a bunch of them being sold. Now, if you look at what's happened is the Recreational Vehicle Industry Association, RVIA. Now, this is the governing body that sets the standards for the construction and the manufacture of RVs. You know, so if you look at an RV and you see that little oval-shaped seal to the left of the door, handle, that's the RVI seal. That's the standard that all the RVs in the United States are built by. When they begin to start looking at the sales, now while we have record sales with new ones, that means that we have had 6 hot years of sales going on, and there's a lot of units out there sitting on lots, sitting in somebody's parking lot, sitting somewhere in some storage facility, and so people are saying, well, you know what, if we're going to get ready to go on the road, we need to get rid of this unit we have, and let's move up to what we need. Because there is a statistic that we know is that if you buy an RV and you enjoy the lifestyle, you will buy 7. So if you buy that first one, even though you may still have that job, that what we call the 8 to 5, and you're living in the brick and stick, and you've really begun to say, you know what, we could do this. We could live on the road. What could we do to live on the road and support ourselves? And so we've racked our brain the whole time that we had the golden handcuffs on us at that job. Well, RVIA is saying, hey guys, sales are happening here. We've got RVs everywhere. Well, another statistic came into play. We got to talking to some of these insurance companies, these extended service agreement companies, and what they're telling us is between 60 and 65% of the used RVs that are being sold never even go through a dealership. And so what's happening is that while there's a bunch of them that, 35 to 40% of them are going through a dealership. Dealerships are maybe getting them from trade-ins, or maybe they're buying them at auctions, but they come into the dealership, the dealership's able to go through them and do the things. There's still a very large group of them that are being sold from one person to another. Craigslist, RV Trader, Home Depot parking lot, through a newspaper ad or sign stuck up in the windshield of their vehicle. So what's happening is there is a massive market of RVs, and people are buying these things many times with a hope and a prayer that it's going to be what the people told them it is going to be. And like that banker, when he called me, he wanted to know, if I'm going to loan this kind of money, I think it was almost $300,000. If I'm going to loan this kind of money to this lady, and all she can tell me is that it's got pretty curtains, there's got to be a better way. And so there was the RV inspection business was born. Now, when we got into the RV inspection business, some things began to happen. We began to meet some people. And if you've ever known anything in your life where things click and you know that they're happening like they're supposed to be, you meet the right person at the right time. Well, we met a gentleman who is out in Florida. He's involved with the home inspection business. And he told us, he said, guys, don't make the mistakes that we made. Set your standards of practice. Set your code of ethics so that way when your inspectors come on board and they start doing their inspections, they know what they're looking for. And so what we did is we sat down and we created the National Recreational Vehicle Inspectors Association, NRVIA. Now, NRVIA is nothing more than the training and the certification body, and also the standards of practice that we work with. Now, there are certain things, and this is something that this home inspector guy shared with us, said, look, if someone goes out and does an inspection, everybody needs to be standing by the same standards. Everybody's going to be looking at life safety. Everyone's going to be looking at, the structure of the unit. Everyone's going to be looking at the same, not just someone happened. He said, because what happened in the home inspection business is that we had some inspectors that were focusing on certain portions of a home, and others would focus on, and in their report, be focusing on something else, and there wasn't consistency. And so what happened is that a lot of the attorney generals in different states had to step in because there were some things kind of just on the verge of fraud, because things weren't really being truly looked at like they were supposed to. So when we sat down and we created the NRVIA, the National Recreational Vehicle Industry Association, Inspectors Association, what we did is that we not only set up the code, the standards of practice, but also the code of ethics. Now, some of the code of ethics that we deal with is that if you inspect an RV, you cannot work on it for 1 year. So what that means is that if you are an RV technician, which typically can make a pretty decent inspector, but if you have a mobile service, you say, well, you know what, that's a good way to build my business. And so you go out and you do an inspection, and then while you're there, you say, well, here's my card on those repairs that we found. Here, give me a call and I'll fix those for you. The question comes to mind, whether it's spoken or unspoken, how biased was this inspection? Was it slanted towards helping the person that was doing the inspection, or was it slanted to the direction of being as unbiased as possible for the person who hired you to do the inspection, whether it be the buyer or happen to be the seller? Whoever's paying the tab for this inspection, the report they get needs to have no bias. In other words, there is no what we call dog in the fight. In other words, if I come out and do an inspection, I can't work on it for a year. I can't have any sort of financial tie in there to where I benefit if it sells or doesn't sell. I can't, anything that would cause it to be a little bit clouded as to what it really can and cannot be, well, we want to eliminate that so that way our inspectors can be as unbiased as possible. Then when we sit down with the attorney, we said, here's what we want to do, Mr. Kohler. He said, well, set your standards, set your code of ethics. Good, I'm glad to see this. He said, now let's form the NRVIA. This will be the governing body. This will be the certifying body, so that way every inspector will abide by these standards. And so that's what we set up, is NRVIA, to help us with educating, certifying, and establishing the standards of practice of what every inspection would include, as well as the code of ethics of the operation that that inspector agrees to abide by. So that's why we set up nrvia.org. So if we look at some of the memberships, now this is something that we felt like it was very, very important, that whatever we did, we had to make sure that we provided training. So what we did was I took the exact same course that I was teaching at that college. It was a one-year program. I took that material and we created the material so that way someone could come to NRVIA and could learn about an RV. Now, they'd come away with that knowledge to know that, okay, this is how it works, and here's how I can maintain my unit, or I can work on somebody else's, but also I have now knowledge to where I can do an inspection. So I know what I'm looking for. I've been trained to know what I'm looking for. I've been trained to know what's going on. So we do the online training, and then we do testing. So that's one feature. Once you complete the training, after every module, you take a test. At the end of all of the modules, you take a final exam. You take then, and you have to have a 70 in order for that final exam to stick. And then you take another 50-question test. Actually, this one is a 50-question test as opposed to the exam. The final exam is a 100-question. Then you take a 50-question exam over the code of ethics and the standards of practice. Also,
Okay, I believe we maybe have lost Mr. Cooper as far as his audio connection. I'll see if I can pick up. Hopefully he'll pick back up with us here in just a second. Sometimes the bandwidth doesn't always work out for us the way that it should. He's talking about the membership benefits of NRVIA.
next step, and do more.
Okay. All right. Mr. Cooper, you're in and out on us at the moment. Okay. All right. Could be the bandwidth in Pennsylvania this time of night is just on the heavy side. He's talking about the certification credentials here. You will end up with certification credentials once you have taken the online training and the testing and passed that test with at least a 70 percentile or greater. And what will come next is you will have a requirement of continuing education that we're going to ask you to put in a number of hours each year. Each year you will need to have 24 credits, and that will be part of the continuing education, and it will be available to you online. Mr. Cooper, are you back with us?
I am back. It must be, this is a very large park, and everybody must be getting online tonight and chewing up the bandwidth. So, they didn't know we were doing a webinar tonight, did they?
No, we should have put a sign out, shouldn't we?
Folks, I apologize, but hey, that's just the way it goes sometimes. You just kind of have to roll with the flow.
Okay. Well, if you kind of want to pick up where you were really on a flow. So,
well, with the online training and the testing, and you get your credentials, and then, like I say, there's continuing ed, because you can't just get something and say no more. So with that being said, there's continuing ed that's being offered here as well. Okay, Mr. Anderson, we're ready to move on to the next one.
All righty.
But the key to the whole thing is the networking, because you need to be able to connect with others, so that way you won't feel like you're the Lone Ranger. And so whether you do this through the online training or through another way that we're going to be showing you here in just a few moments, there are ways that you can tie in, so that way as you travel across the United States, working, doing what you want to, doing your inspections, you have a network of others that are just like you. And already we have that network that's being developed. So that's the importance. getting your testing, and getting your certification, getting your continuing ed networking. But then everybody says, well, what about the software? How do I do this? Have no fear. NRVIA has software to show you how to do the inspection, so that way you can build a business. And we're not just going to dump you out there. We're going to show you how to go through and how to do this inspection and how to walk through it and how to use the software as well.
So, Mr. Cooper, they literally can join NRVIA and develop, after they do all of these things, get their certification and so on, they can develop their own RV inspection business. Is that correct?
That's absolutely right.
Okay.
And we have some folks, I mean, I was talking to a guy this last week who was actually a home inspector. And he said, this would be easy. He said, oh,
sorry, folks, we lost him again. That's a great story about the home inspector, so hopefully he'll be back with us and will be able to join us again. We'll give it just a second. The membership benefits of the NRVIA are available to you on an annual basis.
So can you.
Okay. You were gone for about probably the last minute or so there, Mr. Cooper.
Oh, I apologize. If I drop out, please pick it up.
Okay.
And here's the thing, folks. This is the cost right here. This is not some big monster thing that you've got to kick out for. I've always been concerned about, start your own business, but it's going to cost you $20 zillion.
Okay. Well, we lost him again. Okay, this is the annual fee, $499 per year. This provides you the education resources, it provides you the testing, it provides you the certification. As we mentioned, there is a CEU, or a continuing education requirement, that you will need to fulfill each year in order to reconfirm your certification each year. The RV industry is changing and will continue to change, and for you to keep up with the changes that are taking place, that is one of the reasons that we have a certification requirement. So this is one way that you can actually build and develop a small business. So one option then to start your own inspection business is to get certified through NRVIA. All right, that's the first thing. And then to set up your own business, you will need to set up, your XYZ inspection company. We will recommend that you develop a business entity and so on. Right on NRVIA, we have business education information. We'll connect you with who we feel is one of the best resources in America. His name's Mark J. Kohler, who is a CPA and a tax attorney combination, and he does a very nice job of teaching people who especially have never been in business before about the development of a business entity. So you'll be setting up your own business. Now, please understand this. You will be on your own. You're developing your own marketing, you're developing your own business operations and so on. It's just like you're purchasing a storefront and hanging up a shingle and you're going in business. I'm not saying you have to purchase a storefront. My point being is that you are developing this on your own. You become certified through NRVIA. We provide a lot of guidance. We provide the education of understanding what you need to do, but it will be completely up to you to develop it. And Mr. Cooper was on board with us. This is where he'd be transitioning back to me, so hopefully he'll be able to join us again here when he gets some bandwidth back. But if you don't want to do this alone, and this is what we have heard now literally from hundreds of people, is that developing a business all on my own is not something I'm real familiar with, even though we do have some out there that are doing just that, and that's awesome too. But if you don't want to do it alone, we have developed another company called RV Inspection Connection. And the whole premise of RV Inspection Connection is to develop a system of systems that will allow you to become a part of this organization as a contractor, so that you don't have to invent the wheel on every one of the aspects of developing a business. So to join RV Inspection Connection, and again, this is a separate entity, this is a separate business from the National RV Association. It is not the same thing as NRVIA. It is an organization that is in business to do RV inspections. Okay? All right, so the first thing is that if you wanted to become a part of a a contractor with RV Inspection Connection, you've got to get that NRVIA certification. It's required. That you must do. The second thing is inspectors are actually contractors with RV Inspection Connection. RVIC is what we use for short. So you are actually a contractor. You will actually still set up your business entity, and we will recommend to you that it be at least an LLC, if not an S corporation. And some of you, that might have, you might be wondering what the heck I'm talking about there. Believe me, we can teach you, and you will find out it is not that difficult to set these entities up, and the tax benefits that they provide you are phenomenal. So when you join RV Inspection Connection, you're actually a contractor working with us, and you're going to have the benefit of structured inspection software tools. They will be provided to you as long as you are contracting with RV Inspection Connection. And folks, I have to tell you, these are state-of-the-art. There is nothing else out there like them, all the way down to an online scheduling program that allows you to tell us when you are available to be doing inspections. You literally set that up right online on a piece of software, which allows our schedulers then, when we have an inspection order come in, to determine if you are available and if you are close to that individual that wants the inspection. So we have very structured inspection software that we provide. And then also inspection business that is being developed nationally. We are on going on a national basis with RV Inspection Connection. At first, we thought we were going to be tailored just to a couple of little markets, and as we found out very quickly over the past 8 months, this is exploding out across America. We now have inspectors in many different states. We still need multiple more inspectors across the United States, and we need as many as we can get. I would like to see at least 40% of our RV Inspection Connection inspectors have mobility for the work camper, that if they have the ability to move that RV and go to a different location, to be able to work in some of our hot spots, because we will have hotbeds of business that change through the year as the sales of RVs change through the years because of the seasonality that is involved in it. So those were the elements as far as what you need to go through to join the RV Inspection Connection. What I'd like to do here is to share with you as a team member. When you become a team member of RV Inspection Connection, you're going to have the following benefits. You're going to have multiple forms of advertising. Right now, for instance, I can tell you we are reaching out to the United States via targeted advertising campaigns on RV Trader. If you've heard about them, it's a fantastic site if you've never visited them. One of the things that you need to really understand more so about, that I'm more in tune with now than ever before, and that's this social media advertising. Facebook has become literally a marketing phenomenon, and it's allowing us to focus our marketing into geographic regions around where we have the inspectors targeted at individuals that have interest in purchasing RVs. Can't get much better than that, folks. So different forms of advertising. Lead generation, what I mean by that is us bringing you the inspection. Now that doesn't mean that you don't also market yourself, but it does mean that you have both things happening. You have RV Inspection Connection developing leads and developing inspection business, and then you are also working to develop your own business out there in the field also. We take care of all the billing and collections. It's done for you. You don't have to deal with taking credit cards and have all the mechanics set up in the background to do that. We take care of that. In fact, we will not send you out to do an inspection unless it's paid for. We provide the software, the use support behind that. We have a program we put together with a group rate for liability insurance coverage. We have a home office staff that will be there to support you. We will be paying out commissions on a biweekly basis. They're done by direct deposit directly into your bank account. And that's just some of the things that you will have available to you when you get involved with RV Inspection Connection. And so how do you get started? Okay, so I want to make sure I'm very clear. You can become an inspector, a contractor with RV Inspection Connection, actually in 2 different ways. But you must be NRVIA certified either way. I want to be very clear on that. we are bringing no inspectors into RVIC, into RV Inspection Connection, that are not certified through this National RV Inspectors Association organization. Okay, so hopefully I'm very clear on that. So how do you get certified? There's actually two options for certification. All right, so you've got two ways that you can do this. Option one has a two-step process to it, and that is, the very first step is to do the online NRVIA course and do the testing. You can self-study sitting right there in your jammies, folks, at your computer screen, and you can go through all the training modules. Now realize you're doing this by yourself, okay? You don't have the professor there to guide you along and provide all the different key training elements that he does and so on. You're going to be doing this via the presentations that he does. It is video, so he can do quite a bit of that, but it's just not quite the same as a live training class. Some of you have been very successful maybe in the past doing online training, and if that's the case, this is for you. So you can get your NRVI certification taken care of by doing this online, taking the course online, and then actually taking the tests online. So once you have that certification from NRVIA, you can then apply to contract with RV Inspection Connection to become a contracting inspector. Now there is one more thing that you're going to need to do. You're going to need to sign up and take one of our 3-day advanced inspector training courses. And notice I said take and pass. All right, it's a 3-day intensive where you're going to have a review of your knowledge. So you've developed your knowledge base from studying online. That's all we've talked about so far. And you're going to have a review of that knowledge base the first day of this 3-day course. And then you're going to have a very intensive learning session the second day about the software and how to go about professionally putting together that inspection. And the third day is when you begin your finals. You're going to do 2 complete inspections, one on a motorized vehicle and one on a towable. And those 2 inspections are going to be our way of determining whether you truly know your stuff. Okay, so you'll be taking this 3-day AIT course. These are live courses that you will need to sign up to take in one of the locations that they are located. The AIT course does have a fee, a training fee of $397. So that's the first option to become an inspector, a contracting inspector with RVIC, the RV Inspection Connection. There is a second way. The second way is one that we are finding more people jumping on board with because of the hands-on training that it provides. It's a 2-step process. The first step is to take the 5-day RV Tech Live course and to pass it. Again, you're going to take the same final at the end of this week that you would take online. And passing means you get at least a 70 percentile or greater. Very seldom do we have anybody under a 90 percentile when they take this 5-day live course. And what you will also have is the ability to have Mr. Cooper live for 5 days, providing you hands-on education, providing you the ability to answer your questions, etc. As a bonus, from early in the morning until about 9:30 each day, I'm going to spend with you getting into business training. We're going to talk about and introduce you to the concepts of developing a business entity, developing a business plan, a marketing plan, all of those types of things you still need to know about. Even though you're going to be a contractor with us, you still need to be tuned into those things. Now, this course is a for fee course. It is available in multiple locations around the country, and as you're going to see in this next screen as I go through these are the course dates and the locations that we have scheduled between now and May of 2015. In fact, I will be headed up to Pennsylvania where Mr. Cooper is right now, and we will be doing a 5-day course September 22nd through the 26th in Manheim, Pennsylvania, which is right there. In fact, that's where Mr. Cooper is. It's right next door to Hershey. And then we'll be moving back here to Heber Springs. We have a 5-day course right before our rendezvous event that takes place the 21st through the 23rd. And then we're actually having a live AIT course that very next week right here in Heber Springs. So I'm not going to read every one of these. I'm just going to run through these so that you can see where the various locations are. As we move into the winter, yes, we are staying in the southern climates. One thing that I do not do is drive that 42-foot motorhome into snow if I don't have to. So you're going to see that we are staying down in Florida. We'll be in Arizona, California. We'll be in Texas. We'll be in California again in March, back to Mesa, Arizona, Redding, California, and then up the coast a little bit to Eugene, Oregon, and that will finish the run that we have scheduled thus far. The Mannheim, PA course is the last one that we have up in the north. We've actually been up north all summer. We were in Virginia Beach in June. We were in Shipshewana, Indiana, 2 different months of July and August with active live courses. So I can't tell you if that will happen again next year. This is the furthest we're going out. So would recommend that you look at one of these dates and make one of these happen. And if you can, the sooner the better, because we would like to get you activated and moving as soon as possible. All right, so the course fee for the live hands-on course is $16.44. This includes the course materials and also includes your first year of NRVIA membership. So that $499 membership fee for the National Association is included in this fee. And so when you have finished this course, you will still take the online ethics exam, and once you have done that, then your certification will be awarded to you by NRVIA. There is also a 3-pay option on this, and that I didn't list on here, which you will see when you go to the registration page. And to learn more about this course, you will go to rvinspection.com. Did I say that right? saying
RV Tech Course.
Thank you, rvtechcourse.com, and I'm glad you're back, Mr. Cooper. Welcome. Anyway, once they have finished that certification process, and again, folks, this is the same thing that needs to be done in this option of option 2, becoming an inspector with us, you still will need to take the AIT course. It's going to have a $397 fee, and you will need to do this in order to get your final confirmation to become an inspector with us. All right. Well, Mr. Cooper, since you're back, let's see how that bandwidth hangs in there. You want to give them a little input about income here?
Well, if I drop out, then just pick it up, okay? Because, I mean, I can't even hear anything, so I have to kind of hope and pray you guys are moving on without me.
All right.
That's good.
Sounds good.
You know, the thing I guess I always look at is, okay, we're talking about doing this and doing that, but how can I take this and do something with it? And so just so you understand the price ranges of inspections. Now, pop-up campers, we know there's not going to be a lot of those because most people that buy a pop-up, this is one step above a tent. So many times this might be the very first RV that people buy. So we're looking at a $275 inspection fee. But what about these big motorhomes? We're looking at about a $1,500 inspection fee. Now, this includes the oil analysis. See, this is one of the things that a lot of folks don't realize is that this is not just go out here and look at it with a little notepad and a pen and say, well, it looks like this, it looks like that. You're going to be drawing fluids. Just like, you know, when you go to the doctor and they draw blood for you, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to be drawing oil samples, fluid samples out of the radiator, fluid samples out of the transmission. If you've got an onboard generator, we pull the oil out of that. And some of those generators even have a radiator in them, so we'll be pulling fluid. So many times, many of these big motorhomes may have 5 different samples. But this way, what we do is we send it to a lab, and they tell us what's floating around in that oil, what's floating around in that transmission fluid. Or is there something going on? Not only do we want to know the condition of the oil, but we want to know, do we have bearings that are breaking down? Do we have a camshaft that's having problems? What's going on? What's floating around in that oil? And the only way to do that is to do an oil sample and send it off to a lab. And so they come back and say, this is what you have. This way, someone who's dropping $200,000, $300,000 on a motorhome can say, you know what, for $1,500, I now know what this thing is all about. Because let me tell you, if you drop an engine in one of these big motorhomes, we're talking $20,000 to $30,000. A transmission's $15,000. So that can ruin a whole lot of, oh, this is a wonderful life when you drop an engine. So, but why put somebody through that when they can find out? And this is what I tell everybody when we do an inspection. When you get an inspection, one of three things is going to happen. You're either going to look at the report, and if it's a motorhome, you're going to be looking at the oil samples and all the other, and say, okay, this is what we thought, this is what we're going to buy. Or two, you're going to look at it and say, well, you know what, they found this problem, maybe the refrigerator's not working, maybe the water heater's not working, and so they can now sit down and negotiate with the seller. Or three, walk away. And so when you put it in that perspective, you're now educating the consumer so that way it takes the fear out of this transaction. Now, what will happen is you as an inspector with RV Inspection Connection will do a 50-50 split. In other words, for you going out, doing the inspection, turning in the report, you'll make 50%. And so when we do that 50-50 split, it's based upon to cover your time out there. So now if you look at some of these, I'm going to say travel trailers and fifth wheels, you're going to be looking at doing an inspection of about 2.5, maybe 3 hours. Now some of these big motor homes, you're probably going to be looking at closer to 4, 5, maybe even depending on the bells and whistles that thing have, you may spend 6 hours out there. But the dollars equate to it. But if we took the average, let's say fifth wheel inspection, it's going to run about $650. So that's $650, you split it in half, and you see right here what your take is on that. Because I'm here to tell you, I've done a lot of jobs for a whole lot less money, and the thing is that I needed, if somebody had just taken the time to show me that I could take my skills and do something with them, then it'd been amazing what I could have done with my life. But I didn't have that uncle that could say, Cooper, you need to go do this. Here, do this, and I'll show you how to unlock this so that way you can make it. And so let me show you, either come to the 5-day class or take the online class through NRVIA. Let us show you how you can develop the skills and the ability to do something with your skills and knowledge that you have. Okay, Mr. Anderson?
All right. Well, their next step, Mr. Cooper, if they have interest in RVs, which I'm pretty sure they probably do, or they probably wouldn't be on this call, and they have a desire to start their own business, and hopefully we're helping them see just exactly how they could do that, and the no-brainer here, they want to earn some additional income. And as Mr. Cooper was just sharing with you, that amount of income can be determined by the number of inspections that you're actually doing. Well, if this is where you are, if your next step is to move forward and act now, your first thing you should be doing is going to nrvia.org, that's nrvia.org, and investigate your NRVIA membership. Take some time to learn about it. Check out all the various information that we have at that site. So that's your first step. Then you need to decide if you want to train online or if you would like to take one of the 5-day hands-on training courses. So that's your two choices here. So you've actually got two training tracks you need to be thinking about. If you want to do it online, go ahead, become an NRVIA member, and go ahead and start taking your training online and doing everything online. If you would like to do this with the live hands-on course, then you don't need to register for NRVIA quite yet. What you'll want to do is you will want to actually get signed up for one of the 5-day sessions. So again, you want to do nrvia.org, join today to get started if you want to train online, and if you'd prefer the live training environment with the professor, and I can tell you now after we have done multiples of these, we've literally had a couple of hundred folks come through these courses. We've had some phenomenal testimonies from the people that have taken these courses that they are well worth the dollars. We've had we had people literally tell us who were very skeptical the very first day, by the end of the week, the very best dollars they've ever spent in training. And so that's very rewarding for us to hear that from these folks. But it's proven itself to us because we now have a pretty good army. When I say army, it's a small army of inspectors already in place that knows their stuff. And that's exactly what we're after. That's what I'm after as president of RVIC, is a good qualified base of literally hundreds of inspectors that we need to cover the national need here in the United States. So if you want to take this live course, we want you to go to rvtechcourse.com, rvtechcourse.com, and pick the course that works for you. I showed you the different time frames, etc. When you go to that page, you're going to see that list again, so you'll be able to see where the courses were. You will see the information about how to register. You'll see the information about the 3-pay option, which allows you to spread the payments for the course out over a period of 3 months. So here's the question we need to ask. This is a question you need to ask yourself. Where will you be in 1 year from now if you do not take any action on this? Okay? Where are you going to be in 1 year from now if you don't take any action on this? I think you already pretty much have the answer to that question. Because if you take no action, then you're pretty much either going to be where you are or maybe even in worse shape a year from now, versus a year from now you could say, I have developed a business, I'm in business, I'm earning income, etc. So we want you to take action today, folks. We want you to visit the National RV Inspectors Association website, NRVIA. Go ahead, and if you want to do the online training, sign up for it and get moving. Press that Take Action button. We want you to visit the RV Inspection Connection website, rvinspection.com. And then, if you choose to go the live training route, we want you to get signed up for the 5-day live training course at rvtechcourse.com. Okay? All right. Action is what we're after. Mr. Cooper, any final words?
Other than, let me just kind of read some of the questions. We've got Freddie, who was talking about he's out in California working as an orientation tech. Freddie, then you've got a pretty good feel for what we need to be looking at in these RVs. Let me just say this. I know you had some question whether or not you could take off.
Oh, we lost Mr. Cooper again. He was going to give, not too sure. Let's see if I can catch up to where he was here. Freddie, I think you were referring to, I was looking back at the questions that you'd put in about taking time off. Freddie, you have the option to sign up for NRVIA, and if you've got some background, especially in RV, technical background, I would encourage
Difficult
you
to have you as an employee.
Okay. All right. Cooper, you were back for just a moment, but you're gone again. Would recommend that you get on NRVIA and do the online training and see if that will work for you. And if it does not, and you tell us, I think I still want to take the 5 live day course, Freddie, what we'll do is we'll apply the $4.99 towards the tuition, because you're going to have that as part of that course anyway. And you can then take the live course to finish up your training. Let's see here. Trying to read here. Give me just a second. Okay, I think I may have just answered Danny's input. If you wanted to get some training ahead of time, go ahead and sign up for the NRVIA and start the online training, get into that. What you will not want to do is sign up for the 5-day course online. You're going to need to contact our office, because we'll need to make an adjustment in the financial transaction, because we'll adjust it by the $4.99. And let's see, questions of how many inspections have been completed by, I think they mean the RV Inspection Connection affiliates, asked by Tony. Tony, we are seeing all of our inspectors have done at least 2. I mean, we're just getting rolling. We started live inspections just literally 30 days ago. Okay, that's how fresh RVIC is. We've been in development stage now 18 months with programming, with the development of software, with the training of where we are right now at about 128 inspectors across the United States that are actually complete and have all their ducks in line, their business are in place, they've got their insurance in place, all those things, so that we can actually make them live on our system and assign inspections to them when they come in. How many inspections would you do a year? Asked by Thomas. Thomas, it's going to be a combination of two things. It's going to be dependent upon what area in the United States you're in. It's going to be dependent upon you, because one of the things we will teach you is how to market. We will literally provide education on how to go about marketing yourself, developing a network within the area that you are in, connecting with everything from dealers to you may even have some areas where they have used lots to connect with them so that you can become a resource for the individuals, as well as advertising your services on Craigslist and some of the other tools that are available out there. Let's see. Well, the questions are flying in. Are you back, Mr. Cooper?
Yes, but I can't guarantee how long we'll be here. So.
Yeah, right. He came and he went. This seems like when he starts talking, he's probably drawing more bandwidth, and that's taking it down. All right. Tony says, what about occupational licensing issues? Tony, we have not had issues with that at this point in time. What is going to take place, we know, is as this industry becomes more well-known, we will have states who realize they can stick some licensing requirements as far as for RV
equipment, because you do.
There will be some requirements in there for RV inspectors, we know, in the future. Well, I'm going to mute Mr. Cooper so that we can finish up here. Let's see if I can get him muted. All right, that hopefully will allow us to finish up here. Let's see if I can finish up the questions here. All right, says I passed the this is from, I think it's Michael, I believe. Okay. It says I passed the online certification today and want to do the five-day class. Then what you'll need to do is contact the office, and you will find that information on our website. Just give the RVIC, go to rvinspection.com. You'll find the information there and give the office a call. Is the Heber Springs class full? It is fairly full, but we could fit you in. One more would be okay. And Blaine says, are NRVI inspectors welcome on dealers' lots, or are they seen as a possible deterrent? That's a good question, Blaine. It depends on the dealer. We've had some dealers who are ready to embrace us. We are being very cautious and careful to work with organizations that the NADA has helped us learn about and to work with, to be able to connect well with the dealers. We don't want to become a threat to them. We know that some will not ever welcome us on their lots. There are others. I'll just give you an example. My home dealership right here in Little Rock, where I purchase my RVs, Paul that owns that dealership, he is very excited about us having a team of people, because he does a lot with resales of used units, as well as people putting them on consignment with him and so on. He would love to have a third-party source, because he's having difficulty keeping up with enough staffing of technicians to keep his bays continually moving forward without pulling them out to do inspections. So he is very open to it. But again, it's going to depend upon the dealer. And let's see, can you share the regional areas the Inspections and RV Connection is focusing on? Danny, we currently have 14 different branches with all of the states in the United States broken up into them. And for instance, there's a branch that is the state of Florida and Georgia, for instance. That's one. That's going to be a very hot one. The states that tend to be higher in sales of RVs are going to be your southern states of Florida, your southern state of Texas, the state of Arizona, state of California, state of Washington, which is not a southern state, that sells a lot of motorized vehicles, and the state of Colorado. Those states are the top ones when it comes to sales of used RVs. And you say, well, there's RVs sold in other states? Yes, there are. It's just, as I mentioned, those are the top ones. There are inspections being done. One of the very first inspections we did was in the state of Oregon. Okay, so yes, there are inspections that will be taking place in every single state. Let's see. Tony asked, is it a web-based application or software that needs to be loaded on a machine? Actually, Tony, you never load anything to your machine. Actually, ours is very proprietary. You will only have access to it while you're putting the information into it. It comes back to the cloud, and it will not actually be housed on your machine. And so we have the system that tight to create a very proprietary environment. And Tom says, how much liability insurance do you need to carry? It's a $1 million policy that we ask that you have. And we have a program through a company out of Cincinnati that we actually negotiated with. And they put together a very, very good program. None of our inspectors who have gone out on their own to do their own research have been able to come up with a price that beats it. And so that is available to all NRVIA members, as a matter of fact. Okay, Tony says, if I understood, there's a fee for the in-person course and an additional fee for training required to be a contract with RVIC. Is that accurate? That's true. If you take the live 5-day course, Tony, that course is $1,644. And then after you've finished that course, you've gotten certified through NRVIA, etc., then your next step would be to register for one of the AIT courses, which is the Advanced Inspector Training course. And that fee is $397. And there are not as many of those around the United States as there are the other 5-day courses that we're teaching at this point in time. We don't schedule those out too far in advance because we have instructors that are teaching those. Mr. Cooper and I do not actually teach those courses. They are taught by what we call our IMTs, which we have 9 of them, it stands for Inspector, Manager, Trainer, and these are individuals that we have been working with now, most of them for about 2 years, and they are up to speed on all of our systems and training, etc., and they've been trained by Cooper to be able to do the knowledge review and then take you into teaching you the software and getting you involved in doing your first inspection. Let's see. David says, what are the rates that we should charge? If you're doing your own thing, David, that's something that I'm just going to recommend to you that you get out there and see what the market is doing. You can go to RV Inspection Connection and see exactly what type of rates we have for our different inspection levels. You will see a gambit. You will see Camping World doing a $199 inspection. But you also need to take a very close look at what that $199 inspection entails. Let's see, the question is also asked, is the software Mac friendly? Yes, it is. And Bill says, can you contract with Inspection Connection and also inspect independently? You cannot, Bill. If you are going to be a contractor with us, we're going to ask you to sign an exclusive agreement with us because you will be using our software. And so you need to decide whether you want to be independent or whether you want to be on your own. With RV Inspection Connection. All right, David commented, he says he lives in Wyoming, and I guess your question is, David, is the opportunity there? And it is going to be lighter in Wyoming. We can't argue about that, but yet there will be RVs being sold in Wyoming that will need inspections. So we're not really discounting any states whatsoever. Some of them, yes, simply because of population base and RVers and the interest in RVing is going to dictate the volume of business that is available out there. Well, Mr. Cooper, I hear you rattling around back there. Are you back with us for a moment?
I can only hope so.
I guess we should tell the folks this is get even time for when I was in the cornfield in Illinois and had no connection, and you had to carry the load that night. So that's the way it goes with this, isn't it?
Yeah, we call that recording the Children of the Corn, I think it was.
I was wandering around the cornfield greatly, that's for sure.
Well, I couldn't tell what questions you answered, but it looks like to me we've had some good ones come in. And Danny LeBlanc, I want to say thank you, guy. You brought up some good points to make sure that we mentioned everybody, particularly. And Mr. Anderson, by any chance did you share that the 1644, if they wanted to do the 499 first through NRBIA?
I sure did.
We'd 11? Okay,
yep,
good.
Yep, we covered that.
I thought that was a good question that Danny brought up. He really did.
Yeah, and in fact, there's another gentleman, I don't remember which one now, that has just finished the online training and now wants to get scheduled for the 5-day course. And so I inform them they need to just go to rvinspection.com and contact the office, and we can get them signed up and take care of the financial transaction. We're not set up on our online registration to handle that transaction by cutting the 49 out, folks, so that's why we need you to contact the office in order to do it that way. But you're more than welcome to do that. In fact, it's probably not a bad idea. I mean, I think and what a couple of the folks have expressed on the questions is that they wanted to do that to get a leg up on the training, and that's not a bad thing at all.
Not at all.
And
not at all.
That would be very beneficial to you as the trainer, I know, when they get to the class. We did have Danny with another question just popped in here. From past webinar, you stated the software for full-timers you are using the calendar for your location scheduling. Can you explain? Danny, we have literally, it's a system called the Inspector Support Network, and on that system you will have an account, and you will go in and actually on your calendar, we're going to ask you a month at a time to tell us, and I know this sounds kind of crazy, we're going to ask for you to tell us when you're not available. And so you will literally go in and you will mark that calendar on your computer, which will then be logged into our server, and that will allow our schedulers of the appointments for inspections to, when they go in and search in the branch that you're in to see who's available on a particular date that they're targeting, if you are available, then your name will pop up if you are within X number of miles of that inspection. And you will also have the option to tell us if you're willing to travel. What we are doing is asking our inspectors to be open up to a 50 to 100 mile radius, but we have some inspectors, especially in the state of Florida, many of them are willing to do 250 mile radiuses. And some of them actually are work campers, and they are willing to travel to areas and be in that area with their RV for periods of time. So those are some options that you have that you'll be able to actually put right into that software to allow us to schedule you correctly. Let's see. Dave is asking the question, how are you going to get jobs to inspectors that are full-time RVers? You want to see if you got some bandwidth to hang in there, Mr. Cooper, and tackle that?
We'll try. Dave, now let's talk RV Inspection Connection. Okay, now this is the inspection company. What we have done is we've taken the United States and divided up into 14 branches. So if you come on board as an inspector and you're a full-timer, what you do is you notify the office, okay, let's say I'm in Florida, and so what they do is they plug you into the calendar for Florida. And then let's say that you decide to take a job with Amazon, maybe out in another part of the country, in another branch. So maybe you're going to move to Arizona. Well, what you do is you just notify RVIC and say, okay, I'm going to be in Arizona. So what we do is we move you over into that Arizona branch, and so therefore, when that work comes into the Arizona area, then you're lined up. So depending on where you move, you check in, sign in, say this is where I am. I'm willing to work, as Mr. Anderson was talking about. You tell us when you're available, so that way we can get you plugged into the system. So it's just a matter of you telling us where you are, when you're available, so we can plug you in. And that's really all there is to it. It's not really anything complicated at all. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Ms. Anderson, and please bear with me, folks, if I seem to be redundant. I wasn't even able to hear what was being said, but there are really 6 states that are hot. And these are numbers that we've been able to track through the statistics of sales of RVs. Florida, Texas, Arizona, California, Washington, and Colorado. Those are the top 6 states that have large volumes of sales. Of course, they're all, and most of those areas are in pretty good weather. Now, I'm not to say we don't have some things happening on the eastern seaboard, because we have an awful lot of sales there. But what we've got to do is we've got to find inspectors to handle, because that's where the calls are coming from. The majority of the calls are coming from is those 6 states. And we're building as we go from there. Matter of fact, I talked to a lady this afternoon before I came on board, and she's associated with the California RV Campground Association, and she said, we have got such a major need for someone to come in and do inspections. I've got a gentleman that was down in Texas. He's flying in to buy an RV from an RV dealership. Now, We're not there to mess up the deal for the dealer. That's not us at all. But it's just like if you have, and what we tell people is say, look, all we need you to do is to let the dealer know that you want to have it inspected. And we've yet to have a dealer say no. Some of them want to stand there and kind of watch what's going on because this is the first time they've seen it. Now, we had some folks that bought a unit off of a consignment lot. Now, what that meant is that, you know, the salesman was there with them, and they went through that RV, and he kind of pointed out some things that he knew to be problems, so they made sure to put that in the report. But we also found some other things. And as a matter of fact, the salesman didn't even know. For instance, this unit didn't have a recall on the refrigerator. But when our inspector went in and looked it up, it was eligible for one. So that's one of those life safety things that we need to make sure before those people take possession of that unit that that shop has the time to put the recall kit, or someone puts a recall kit on that unit, so that way that family's taken care of that's buying it. So with all that being said, there's opportunity out here between the banks and the insurance companies, and who knows? I mean, we're just seeing an awful lot of folks that are saying, look, I'll need somebody to take a look at this. Because what's happened is they're used to having a home inspection. They're used to having somebody look over their shoulder, look over their product they're wanting to buy, and to tell them, is this a good home or is this a good boat? Well, now they're saying, you know what, I'm going to spend money on an RV. Why can't I have somebody look at it for me as well? So with that being said, there's opportunity here. There really is. And the inspector, the salary that they make is based upon the salary of the inspection. And here again, you get 50% of it. Now, if it's a lead that you bring in, you get an additional 5%. So let's say that it was a lead that you generated because of someone you maybe met say in the grocery store line, at the checkout line. You got to talking, they said, what do you do? And you said, well, I do RV inspections. Well, you know what, we're thinking about buying one. Can you inspect it for us? Bring that lead in. We'll process it through the software, track it, get you to where you're going. You can go out and do that inspection, but you not only pick up the 50%, but you pick up the extra 5% for bringing the lead in. So that's kind of where we're going with this, so that way you can see what's happening. Mr. Anderson?
Okay, I had myself muted, and it doesn't work too well when you talk when you're muted. I saw one more.
Kind of scares me.
You thought I was out in the corn again, didn't you? All right. One more question here. Well, actually, two of them. Is there a travel reimbursement over 50 miles? Kevin asked that. Yes, there is. We do charge mileage to the customer that then comes back to the inspector over that range. And Blaine says, is the purchase of it?
They get all that mileage,
yes,
don't they?
They do.
They get all that mileage, yeah.
And then Blaine says, is the purchase of any specialty tools or testing equipment necessary to conduct our business? I'll let you have that one, Mr. Cooper.
Well, most of you, if you have just the basic hand tools, screwdrivers, pair of pliers, flashlights, that sort of thing, the only other tools that we find that you really need, quite honestly, to do inspections is a manometer, which is a gas pressure test, because we're going to do a leak test on this unit. We're going to take a burner off the cooktop, you're going to plug on this manometer, and you're going to check for a leak, because that's a life safety item. The last thing we want to do is for us to do an inspection, and we don't check this thing for a leak, and someone gets hurt. The other thing is that we're going to show you how to use your volt-ohm meter, so that way your amp clamp. And so let's say the amp clamp, you can buy them at Home Depot or Sears and Roebuck for less than $100. The manometer, the gas pressure tester, we're buying those off of Amazon for between $55 and $60. So I mean, there's not some serious stuff. You're also going to want to buy you a ladder if you don't have one. I like the little giant because you can fold it up and put it in the trunk of a car. If you've got a small pickup or whatever, you can stick in the back. So that's about the extent of the tools. I mean, we're not talking like, you know, you got to have a gazillion dollars worth of tools. Now, if you want somebody to buy you a bunch of Snap-on tools and you're looking for an excuse, I'll help you on that because I'm a tool freak, so I understand buying tools.
So you get in trouble with them is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I'll write you a note, okay?
All right. Well, I think we have pretty well exhausted these questions. Here's one that did just pop in. I think we'll make this one our last one. Any opportunity to add on sales of warranties? What would the commission be? I'll just jump on that one. Tony, we're actually working with an organization that's going to provide a 90-day extended service agreement which we will be marketing to them when we set up the inspection. The probability we realize the likelihood of them taking that option right up front is not as great as it will be when you, the inspector, is out there doing the inspection and addressing the various things that you have done through the inspection process. And so there will be a $35, this is not a high ticket item, depending on what the rig is, it will be a $200 or $300 thing, which most of it is in fact, we're not making commission off of it from RVIC, and we're giving the $35 commission on it to whoever it is that sells it, whether it be our phone people, whether it be is you, the inspector, etc. But it's a beautiful thing, because now what we're going to be able to provide that seller or that buyer, if you're a seller, think about this. You're going to have it inspected. We're going to be able to provide them with a report showing them the condition of their RV that they're selling, as well as they have the option to purchase a 90-day extended service agreement that the insurance company will honor based upon the inspection that we have done. And if you're the buyer and you're looking at 2 rigs and one of them has an inspection with a 90-day extended service agreement, which one you're going to go for if you're kind of torn? Probably going to go with the one with the inspection and the service agreement. And so, yeah, that's another tool that is out there that we'll be providing. Well, Mr. Cooper, any closing comments before we finish up? We're pushing about the hour-and-a-half line here.
Yes. There's been some really good questions here. And now let me just say this as parting words. If you're saying, you know what, I'm not real sure about this, I want to encourage you to go to the National RV Inspectors Association website, nrbia.org. We've got a free class that you can take. It's an electrical class. I want you to take a look at it. It's worth 30 days. But I want you to see what you're getting yourself into. Now, once you take that class and you say, hey, I want to go ahead and punch on in, then you can go one of 2 ways. You can do the rest of the online program, or you can take the 5-day. So, if we don't do anything, nothing changes in our life. And that's one thing I guess has really stuck home with me. If you're going to do something, or you want to do something with your life, you have to take some action. If you don't, hey, that's okay. Just enjoy the life you have. But if you want to make a difference, if you want to do something with your life, if you want to provide more for your family, then here's an opportunity. And that's all this is an opportunity for you to go to the next level. So, hey, jump in with us. Trust me, we need 3,500 inspectors across the United States. And that's a conservative number. So if we had 3,500 that were registered, certified, NRVIA inspectors, chances are not everybody's going to be working, so that means we may even need more than 3,500. So there's plenty of opportunity here. So come on, hang out here with us, and we'll get this thing rolling.
All right. Well, Mr. Cooper, thank you for your time this evening, and the time that you were with us was very valuable. Okay, and we appreciate you. And everyone, we encourage you to take some action. Check out these different websites that we have on this screen, and we look forward to having you become a member of NRVIA. We look forward to having you in one of the 14 courses we have coming up over the next 10 months. So thanks for joining us this evening. This is Steve Anderson for the RV Inspection Connection, and I'd like to say call in a wrap.